if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. All those joining us live at Boston Pizza on 10, as well as all those online on our social media platforms. We welcome you to the Illegal Curve post-game show, along with Dave Manouk, along with Ezra Ginsburg, along with plenty of members of IC Nation. Make some noise, IC Nation! That's good. I like to hear that. We are here to talk about the Winnipeg Jets' 3-2 overtime victory over the Colorado Avalanche, a game following the Monday night debacle in Utah. Jets head coach Scott Neal challenged his shorthanded team, his undermanned team, to step up in the face of better competition, namely the Colorado Avalanche. And to the Winnipeg Jets' credit, off the stick of a bullet from Neal Pionk in overtime, the Jets come away with a 3-2 victory. Gentlemen, what a night it's been here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. Crowds cheering, prizes, everything under the sun, and it only gets better with the Jets coming through with that crucial 3-2 victory, Ezzy.
Absolutely. Boys, I don't know if we can talk about anything aside from that penalty that was called by Nikolai Ehlers on a perfectly fine hip check, along with that shot by Neal Pionk. Obviously, the Avalanche didn't score on that power play late in the third period, but what a shot by Neal Pionk. Sometimes, boys, you get outplayed a little bit. Jets certainly got outplayed in the third period, but when it goes to overtime, we know the Jets have some players that can create some magic. Pionk obviously is not a guy that you expect to be the goal scorer. You expect it to be a guy like Scheifele or Connor, maybe Vilardi or Ehlers. But, just an impressive overall win. No Adam Lowry. The Jets are almost completely healthy, guys. But the Jets will take it. And, obviously Nathan McKinnon, I think he ended up with 100 shots on net tonight. He was really good. Cale Makar doing Cale Makar things. But all that matters is Neal Pionk gets the Jets that extra point in overtime. And obviously Connor Hellebuyck deserves a lot of credit for the way he played, keeping that game tied in the third period.
Well, Dave, it's funny. As he mentions that penalty call on Nikolai Ehlers, that call came with 4 minutes and 13 seconds to go. And, in that situation, we've seen plenty of times over the years where that can end up being the game-winning goal for the opposition, where the Jets have taken a late penalty, a dubious call that was at best against Nikolai Ehlers. But to the Jets' credit, and I think this speaks to their intestinal fortitude, and this speaks to their attitude and the culture that they've built within that dressing room. They have a very solid penalty kill, a couple of very timely stick checks from Alex Iafallo to prevent the Avs from getting that high slot play that they look to so often on the power play. The Jets kill it off, and then they end up getting the victory in overtime. Just really diligent play by the Jets' penalty kill at a time they needed them to step up the most in that third period, late in that third period.
Well, we've been talking about the Jets' penalty kill now for some time, Drew, and they've stepped up, and none bigger than that one to end the hockey game and get it into overtime because, the Colorado Avalanche, we watched it throughout the course of the night, incredibly talented team. I thought all you'd want to do is talk about Connor Hellebuyck getting his first assist of the season, but I guess we'll just talk about the PK.
When we get to that in the Play Now game recap, we'll get there. The easy there, Sensei.
All right.
One step at a time, one goal at a time.
When a goaltender picks up an assist, it's something. It's not a goal, but it's an assist.
Yeah. It's no Nedeljkovic, right, Dave?
No, exactly. ECHL, AHL, and now NHL goals for him. But no, I don't think that I think it's the one area of concern that we had for this Winnipeg Jets team throughout the course of the season. Even as their power play was looking phenomenal, and their 5-on-5 play was good. But we continually harped on the fact that their PK wasn't where it needed to be. The PK needed to be, again, like I've said, I'm like a broken record on this. You don't have to have a top 5 PK, but you need to be in that top 10-ish area. And the Jets are slowly, I know that they're around 15th or 16th in the NHL, but the fact of the matter, it has gotten better. It has looked better. And never has it come up bigger, I would say, than in the third period to keep that on really what would have been a terrible. Again, we're not homers. We don't see if
that was a bad call.
If a penalty is a penalty, we call them.
Yeah.
We call balls and strikes, as close as we can and as fair as we can. But I got to tell you, watching that, to me, that's just it's a check by Ehlers. It's nothing more than that, and it shouldn't have been called. So the fact that you didn't lose on that one is significant.
What I think happened on that play, and I was saying this to Doug and company here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue for the Illegal Curve watch party. What I think what happened there is the ref anticipated that it was going to be a trip, like a legitimate leg stick out trip on McKinnon. And then when it didn't turn out to be that way, he already had the hand up. He was anticipating the penalty call.
What was that Tom Cruise movie where they anticipated you doing the crime before you actually did it, so they would arrest you in advance so you didn't actually commit it?
Vanilla Sky.
No, that wasn't it. But the point is, there was Tom. Don't you remember they'd anticipated to get arrested before you even committed a crime?
Days of Thunder.
I vaguely know what you're talking about. Yeah, so they would prevent you, that they prevented you from committing the act beforehand. But I think that's what happened there. The ref was expecting that to be a trip because it did look initially like it was going to be one. And then, Ehlers adjusted and McKinnon sort of adjusted as well and turned it into a hip check opportunity, but the ref was already.
Stu Smith is saying minority report.
Minority report.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Stu Smith, in the chat.
Thank you, Stu.
But the ref was already pot committed, if you want to use a poker term, to making the penalty call, and that's why the hand went off. It was the wrong call. What should have happened there is the refs should have got together and consulted and maybe changed their mind, but that rarely happens in the NHL. Usually they just say, okay, well, you blew the call. It's fine. You're going to stick with it. But to the Jets' credit, and I do think it's important that they killed that one off, and then they win it so quickly in overtime. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. One step at a time.
People didn't know, Drew.
Well, sorry. I hate to put spoiler alert for all those who didn't know the end result of today's game.
I don't think you can say spoiler alert once you've already spoiled.
Well, also, if they're watching the post-game show, I'm fairly confident that they know they're about to get spoiled with the results of the game.
Boys, I don't know if it's irony, but there's something, I think, poetic about the fact that Ehlers gets penalized for a hip check, and then Pionk scores the OT winner, because how many times have we seen Pionk with the beauty hip checks, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's synchronicity or what that is. Irony, I don't really know. I think Alanis Morissette ruined the definition of irony for all of us with that song back in the 90s, but obviously, guys, a huge penalty kill, and the Jets probably would have been fairly satisfied with a point, but to get that extra point against your division rival and not let them gain a point on you is huge.
Especially with the Adam Lowry news and the fact that he's going to be out week to week, which we learned today, courtesy of Mike and Murat, who are in Colorado. So we knew it didn't look good, obviously, when he didn't come back and play in the game against the Utah Hockey Club on Monday. So when he was out, now, the fact that they didn't make a recall from the Moose, you're thinking maybe it's not as bad, but ultimately we found out today, of course, he's out week to week.
Well, they got Appleton back, so you don't need to make the recall at that point in time.
No, of course not. But the point is that they did pull him and Hayden Fleury off of IR, and they activated them. Didn't need to make an accompany move because, of course, they put Adam Lowry on IR. But, and we saw some new look lines, and that was kind of the way things started because we were just, as he getting used to the old look lines and what they looked like in the previous few games, but now the Jets went to a new one.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the injury bug bites. All things considered, look, it's a huge loss anytime the Jets lose Adam Lowry from their lineup, and it's a week-to-week situation, so we don't know if that means 2 weeks. We don't know if that means 8 weeks. Usually it's safe to say it's probably going to be about a 4-week injury. I think it's probably in and around there, 4 to 6. I'm assuming, they said upper body. I'm assuming it had to do with, the way he went into the boards there. I'm going to assume it has to do with a shoulder or something along those lines.
Sure, it could be ribs. It could be.
I know, it could be a million and a half things. We're not going to randomly.
Ribs? You said ribs.
Yeah, no, you can't eat those ribs, Ezzy. We've talked about this. No eating humans anymore. It's frowned upon. Cannibalism is not acceptable here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. But whatever the injury is, you think about it, you're sitting here, it's January 22nd. You're really thinking, that Four Nations Cup break is coming up, at a timely, opportunity. So it's not you're gonna be without Lowry up until the Four Nations tournament for sure.
Yeah.
Who knows how long after that? But in terms of the timing of that injury, it's not the worst timing imaginable. In that, you're missing fewer games. You're missing fewer games than you would be if this injury happens in October or November or anything along those lines. So in terms of that, if you want to look at the silver lining of losing your captain, losing one of your key contributors, it's not for as many games as it would have been at a different time in the year or at a year that doesn't have the Four Nations tournament as it.
Right. And, obviously, you can dissect the lines and, you could pick apart some of the Jets. Like the Jets were pretty badly outplayed for stretches of the second and third period, right? But I thought I liked Iafallo's game overall. Really liked him. We talked about the penalty kill. The Jets penalty kill looked really strong tonight, especially in the third period when there was the Ehlers penalty at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And Mason Appleton, obviously he took a coincidental penalty, so coach isn't going to like that. But, obviously he gives you a little bit more depth. Not that Dominic Toninato can't fill a role on the fourth line, but
the Mason Appleton's an NHL player, whereas Toninato is a tweener at best at this point. I mean, Appleton, there's no question about it. You're talking about a guy who belongs in a top 12 forward group, whereas Toninato, he always gives you the effort. He always gives you everything he can, but the result isn't necessarily going to be as pretty as it can be from Mason Appleton. And it's usually not that pretty from Appleton.
Let's not forget about Toninato's partial breakaway last game, but you're right. You're not going to get a lot of offense.
Right.
I'm a big Dom Toninato guy, but yeah, Drew, let's be honest here. I mean, Appleton, his ability to create offense is quite a bit higher than Toninato. But, look, I think you could see, guys, parts of this game, having big number 17 out there against the McKinnon line would have made a difference, right?
Yeah.
Like the Jets at points in this game were giving up way too much up the middle. But again, they found a way. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No. I was just going to add your point. As I was just going to say, there were at least 3 rush chances that shouldn't have happened. That happened, and especially with McKinnon on the ice, not ideal.
And on the McCarr goal, same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's easier said than done to shut down the Avalanche top guns. Joel Kiviranta had the chance in the second period. Hellebuck made a really good save. So, look, if you're looking at shot attempts and scoring chances, this was a pretty one-sided game for the Avalanche. But again, the Jets have the equalizer in Connor Hellebuck, and they managed to get it to overtime. And we know in overtime anything can happen. And the Neal Pionk clapper happened.
Well, and just to add, sorry, Drew, just one last thought before we get into might not necessarily get into the recap just yet, but the one thing that merits mention is the play of Connor Hellebuck, because, that save he made with 5 seconds to go in the first period just preserves the mentality. You're not going into that second period down and trying to scratch and claw, and the kind of emotional break that it would have been, giving up a goal that late. Something, again, we haven't seen from the Winnipeg Jets late in the season. But I thought Connor Hellebuck was excellent in this hockey game, made a number of key saves. And Blackwood, too, he deserves credit. I thought he was good.
The two saves he makes off Mark Scheifele.
I was going to say, boys, the Jets could have won this game in regulation, too, right? And that's why this was such a fascinating game, right? Like, even though the Avalanche controlled the pace of play, and at one point the high danger chances were heavily tilted in the Avalanche favor.
They finished 16 to 8 in favor of the Avalanche at 5-on-5. So they doubled the Jets in high danger chances.
And if you watch that game, you're not surprised by that number. You couldn't have watched it and not seen how many chances that they had. And look, like as he said, there's going to be elements, Drew, you said it. There's going to be elements of the game that Scott Arniel's not going to like, and he's going to want his team to clean up because, again, you want to rely on Connor Hellebuck, but you don't want to make him that. You don't want to make sure his workload is that heavy.
Right.
And so, but at the same time, he's your number one goaltender. You pay him as a number one goaltender for a reason. And he has done an excellent job against Colorado Avalanche in regulation.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Jets, again, we've talked about this. You don't apologize for having Connor Hellebuck as your goaltender. And to the Jets' credit, I know that the high danger chances were one-sided. I know that at different times the flow of the game was a little bit one-sided, but I thought the Jets did a really good job of staying in the fight tonight. And I know that's sort of a lingo from a year ago or 2 years ago. I think it was a Rick Bonus line, stay in the fight. But the Jets did that, and they obviously get rewarded in overtime. Look, I thought this was a gutsy effort by the Winnipeg Jets, and they spoke a good game after Monday against Utah, saying all the right things about being disappointed in their performance on Monday night, needing a better result. Ehlers saying if we play like that, we're not going to be a Stanley Cup caliber team. So talk is cheap. How do you respond in that next game? It wasn't the prettiest game. It wasn't a dominant effort, but you knew it wasn't going to be on the road what they did to the Avs at home. You knew that wasn't going to be the case. The Avs were going to look to avenge that terrible performance they had in Winnipeg. Was that 10 days ago, a week ago, whatever it was now?
Yeah, 11 days ago.
11 days ago. So you knew the Avs were going to do what they could to avenge that. And even still, the Jets fight through that and they get the victory in overtime. It really does speak, I think, to the culture that this team has and has really built for a number of years now, but have continued to manifest it with Scott or Neal behind the bench.
Absolutely. It's a good response from one of the weakest games of the year, right? Like, let's be honest, guys. The game against Utah was pretty bad.
Well, when you think of the bad games this year, you think about that home game against Detroit on the Saturday night where they lost handily.
I'd say the Kings game too, Drew, was...
Well, the Kings game, they still took it to overtime. The Kings, that's just the style the Kings play more than I think that was just a boring game more than a bad game by the Jets. The game against Utah for sure on Monday, bad game. So you can't have multiple bad games in a row. So how do you respond? How do you bounce back? How do you change your performance the next time you have an opportunity? And we've seen the Jets do that. We've seen the Jets improve upon those poor performances. And I think that's just a really important attribute for a team like the Jets to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you're able to overcome, let's be honest, the Jets were on their heels for big portions of the second and third periods. And the Colorado Avalanche are able to do that to a lot of teams. But as you said, the Jets are able to persevere. And, the Scheifele line, had a good scoring chance. They were noticeable on the power play. And, at the end of the day, the Jets get the extra point. And, that's kind of what it's all about. But you're absolutely right. I mean, this is the type of response. It wasn't a perfect game.
No.
There were, parts of the game, like I said, where, you don't like the way that you defended. Maybe you gave the Avalanche a little bit too much time and space. But again, it's not just McKinnon. It's not Rantanen. And I mean, Drew O'Connor, we saw him have a good burst of speed and had a scoring chance. We talked about Joel Kiviranta. Sometimes I say Joel, but I think it's Joel Kiviranta.
Okay.
He had a really good chance in the second period. And then obviously, Cale Makar got the tying goal there. But, again, like our boy, Isha Boy Bruce is saying right now, the Avalanche are an elite team. They have some things to figure out. Mackenzie Blackwood has been kind of hot and cold as of late. I thought he was pretty good tonight. We talked about the Scheifele save. That guys is maybe a candidate for save of the year. So
well, let's not get carried away. It was a good save. I mean, not save of the year, but it was a damn good save at an important time.
Watch the replay though, Drew. I mean, the first save is incredible, and the second save is even more impressive. So. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a top 5 save of the year confidently.
Okay. Well, we can agree to
confident.
We'll agree to disagree on the confidence level there, but that's okay. Room for everybody here on the Illegal Curve.
I know Joe from Winnipeg agrees with me.
Okay.
Top 5 save of the year.
Joe's giving the Ezzy the thumbs up. We're live here at Boston Pizza on Taylor.
That's only because Joe wants to win a Play Now hoodie that we're giving, a sweatshirt that we're giving away to someone here in Boston Pizza.
There you go. Exactly. Got that still to come here on the post-game show. We're live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show live on location. It's also the Illegal Curve watch party. We do this every month. Always great to be with our friends at Boston Pizza, and it was a great party here tonight. We encourage you to come out to the next one. That'll be in February. Details to come. It's a Saturday night in February, the first game back after the Four Nations Cup. I believe the Jets are on the road in St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll be back here at Boston Pizza for that. But before that, much more to get into on tonight's post-game show. We do a goal-by-goal recap. It's called the Play Now Game Recap.
the Play Now game recap.
The Play Now game recap. Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead. Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site, 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. We'll give away a little bit of co-branded Play Now Illegal Curve swag here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. I can see the Play Now socks, and I can see the Play Now sweatshirt as well. So all that's still to come for those who are in attendance here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. No score after 20 minutes in the game. Pretty even first period. Shots 9-8 in the advantage of the Colorado Avalanche. You mentioned the big save, Dave, that Connor Hellebuyck makes at the end of that first period. He almost gets burnt on a bit of a weak one that squeaks through him before that and hits the post and bounces right back. But it could have been a different flow to the game if that goal goes in or if he doesn't make that big save towards the end of the first period. But getting through 20 minutes, evened up, I think the Jets will be happy with that performance.
Well, and I think that, Drew, you're talking about that save that got through him 5-hole and just kind of curled around. Then actually, I think Logan Stanley brought it in to keep it safe. But the truth was, it's also because the D just folded and allowed the Avs to just have the front of the net and have access and just, like I said, get through them, part through them like a hot knife through butter, unfortunately. For them.
I love butter on a hot knife.
You've had enough butter based on what we've been watching tonight. But the fact of the matter is that it was opportunities that Winnipeg can't afford to give up and really rush chances that we haven't seen them really allowing significantly. And I thought at points, as it did look like they were trading chances with Colorado, which is not something you really want to get into. That sort of track meet with a team like Colorado with guys like McKinnon and Rantanen and McCarr and Taves, like the list goes on and on. But to me, like I said, that first period, getting through it the way they did, the save by Connor Hellebuyck, which I've already talked about in our little preamble here, as he really did set the tone, I thought, for the start of that second period.
And like you said, Dave, the Avalanche with all of these elite players like McCarr and McKinnon and Rantanen, they're going to get their chances. But what you don't want to do is give them too many odd man rushes and too many opportunities to burst up the middle, right? And obviously we'll get into the McKinnon goal. That was not something that was created through the neutral zone. That was kind of a broken play.
Well, he jumps in. He jumps in off the board on the line change, and he's if you don't have a guy tracking him, he's so dangerous, and that's what you just see from Nathan McKinnon. He's just a cheat code, is what he is.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Leon Draisaitl and Connor Hellebuyck are making their push for the Hart Trophy this year, but Nathan McKinnon is still having a bonkers season.
Yeah.
And that first period was. Again, it was a pretty even period, but, the Jets sometimes, I think, got into a little bit of a trap of trying to go, transition offense to transition offense. And Colorado, that's basically their specialty, right?
Yeah. It was especially, a Colorado Avalanche team that the Jets successfully shut down, like we were saying 10 days ago, that they look like a shell of themselves. You're unlikely to do that against them 2 games in a row, given the superstar talent, McKinnon and McCarr, and both of those guys were key drivers of the Avalanche goals in the course of tonight's game. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, and Nancy and I talked about this a little bit before we got started on the show, but
you guys had meetings without me.
Well, Drew, if you weren't so busy, flittering from table to table while Nancy and I were trying to do a little.
People demand a piece of me. Everybody demands a piece of me. It's hard being me.
Well, sit at the elitist table, Drew. Sit at the elitist table.
I'm not. I'm a man of the people. I'm not as elitist.
You're a man of the people.
I don't have security around me at all times like you guys do.
Yeah, easy there, Mr. Tuxedo. But anyways,
don't live in Tuxedo.
Yeah, you grew up there. But the point is that one of the things that Edsy and I talked about was in our private conversation was the fact that Mackenzie Blackwood, since that time and including that loss to the Winnipeg Jets, he's gone 1-3-0, and his save percentage went from like a 168, or not his save percentage, his goals against went from 168 to 198, and his save percentage marginally increased as well. Like, it's not, again, his numbers are still good.
So what you're saying is they shouldn't have committed for 5 years and $27 million to him?
I'm actually not saying that, but I'm just saying that it's from where they were 10 days ago. It's just funny how things can happen. And the Avs, when the Avs came into Winnipeg and they played that game and lost the Jets, they had been 8-1-1 in their last 10. And then coming into today's game, they were 5-4-1. And again, like I said, Blackwood went from 928 to 940. and 168 goals against for 197.
Okay.
So again, he's just
Like you would expect, he's sort of he's reverting back to the mean
a little bit. Yeah.
Again, he's not an elite goaltender, so you wouldn't expect his numbers to stay up there at all that point in time. In any event, 0-0 after 20 minutes. The Avs do open the scoring. We talked about it. Nathan MacKinnon is 19th of the year. Assist to Devon Taves and Jonathan Drouin. It comes at the 6:09 mark. And look, if you don't have a guy attached to the hip of Nathan MacKinnon, which is a lot easier said than done, it's a very dangerous opportunity. And this is a play where the Avs gain the Jets zone, and MacKinnon jumps onto the ice off of the bench. It's a line change, and it's the second period, so it's the long line change. So he's able to almost sneak his way into the offensive zone, at which point in time he gets the puck from Devon Taves. He takes a first shot that, I believe it hit the post if I recall correctly, and he gobbles up his own rebound and he fires it past Connor Hellebuyck, and it happens in the blink of an eye. You see that Nino Niederreiter, a guy who's usually pretty defensively responsible and pretty on the ball of where he needs to be and who he needs to be there with, is sort of just left standing there by MacKinnon and his speed. And MacKinnon, give him one opportunity, he's usually going to score. Give him two opportunities, he's almost guaranteed to score.
Yeah, and I think, boys, the issue that you have more with here is that after the puck, it does hit the post, Drew. Yeah. Originally, I think most people thought Hellebuyck made the save, but I think the problem that you have is that MacKinnon comes in, gets his own rebound, and has too much time and space. I think that's the issue.
Gets lost.
And Morrissey, if I'm not mistaken, Morrissey has Rantanen, and DeMello is with Drouin.
No, Samberg. Samberg was on.
Or pardon me, Samberg is with Drouin. The point is the Avalanche have two forwards to the left and the right of Hellebuyck, and there's just nobody. Niederreiter is not following up on the back check on MacKinnon. So I think, again, MacKinnon has the ability not only to transition and do his cheat code up the middle and side to side and everything like that, but he takes this pass from Devon Taves basically standing, right? And then he hits that speed burst. Yeah. So again, like Drew said, if you're not right on him, and this is not just for the Jets, this is anybody. I mean, Nathan MacKinnon is the MVP, guys, right? Let's not forget that. So the reigning MVP. So that's what you don't like. The rebound, a little bit too much time and space. But again, easier said than done to attempt to solve who is one of the best players in the world right now.
Yeah, he's moving east-west, and then he so quickly transitions to north-south. He's sort of like blending in, camouflaging sort of into the sideboards. And then he sees his opportunity and he sees the space. And then by the time the Jets realize what's happened, they're a step behind. And then it quickly becomes two steps behind MacKinnon, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, you see him make that move around Nino Niederreiter. And Nino Niederreiter, while not, I would say, fast, generally doesn't get kind of lost in that sort of, he's usually pretty good in terms of sticking with his man. Yeah. And, MacKinnon just takes one step around him and he's just gone. And there's guys who do that. McDavid does that. Crosby could do that. The greats can do that. Yeah. And so MacKinnon does it. You don't really blame Niederreiter. The problem is there's no support. As he said, Samberg is high, and he kind of gets lost, and he's kind of watching. Cole Perfetti is the guy who is, deep in the Avs end, and he's trying to get back. He's kind of cruising. That's the problem. There's not a lot of guys digging hard to get back in the play in this one. And I know it was the end of a shift, and they were kind of split on the D pairings were kind of in flux. But the fact of the matter is that you got too many guys just kind of standing up, not trying to get back. And again, if Nathan MacKinnon's on the ice, as he says, you just can't leave him alone. It's just he's just the one player on both of these teams that can never have that kind of time and space. And like you said, he hits the post. Well, he's going to put in that rebound.
Okay, boys, enough about the first goal. Let's get to Morgan the Sniper Barons goal. Okay, let's get to the good stuff here.
We can get to the good stuff. We are at the good stuff. The good stuff is Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, the Illegal Curve watch party, the Illegal Curve live on location post game show. It's presented here courtesy of our friends at Play Now. Thrilled to be here as always. Thanks to all of you who are watching online as well as those who are here at Boston Pizza. If you haven't already done so, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the podcast, and be sure to make sure you never miss an episode of The Legal Curve, be it the post-game show or the Saturday show. The Jets tie it up 4 minutes and 47 seconds later. Morgan Barron gets his 5th of the year assist to David Gustafsson and Josh Morrissey. It's a play that starts deep in the Jets' own zone. Morrissey with the clean breakout, and he finds Gustafsson for the clean zone entry, and a hell of a pass by David Gustafsson as Morgan Barron beats Juuso Parssinen to the far post, and Gustafsson makes no mistake, puts it right on his stick to tie it up at 1 as Barron is able to tap it past
Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say Scott Wedgwood because I'm getting my Woods confused, but I knew it wasn't Wedgwood.
They also have Miles Wood, Drew, by the way.
I know, it's too many Woods as far as I'm concerned. But,
lots of Wood.
Great play by Morgan Barron to beat Parssinen to where he needs to get. But how about that pass from David Gustafsson on this one? This was just a tremendous pass by a guy who had his first assist of the year, but it's a backhand saucer pass through about 3 bodies to get it right onto the stick of Morgan Barron, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was exactly the highlight reel defense there by the Avs, but at the same time, that's one of the things they do. They score a lot of goals. They also give up a lot of goals. That was, of course, under their previous goaltending regime, I should say, that didn't exactly help. But Morgan Barron is a guy we've talked about, a guy who you needed more from. He had those 2 shorthanded empty net goals, and now he's, of course, got 3 goals since then. If my math is correct, Drew, he has 5, as you said.
Yeah,
so
we're
good. You got out the abacus. So again, an opportunity for the Jets to start it in their zone. Josh Morrissey, he skates like, it's hard to say he skates like no other when you've got Cale Makar in the game, as he. And yes, credit David Gustafsson. You could kind of feel, especially with that breakaway chance he had in the last game, you knew he was kind of starting to feel a little more comfortable, a little more opportunity. And again, one of the things that with Adam Lowry going down, we know is that guys are going to get more opportunity. Yeah. There's a little less pressure on David Gustafsson to think, well, I'm, this far away from being removed from the lineup, which realistically he probably would have been had Adam Lowry not gotten injured in Utah with Mason Appleton coming back. So he knows, okay, I can do some things, still play the game, but maybe try and create some more offense. Great play, like you said. And the fourth line to get them this goal less than 5 minutes after they gave up the goal is significant, because that's one of the things, as we've talked about, is the need for the Jets to get fourth line scoring.
Dave, I know we don't like to use the word elite a lot.
Ooh.
But this is an elite pass by David Gustafsson on the backhand, right? He's got Middleton right there. It's a good burst of speed. And like you said, I think people were almost shocked that David Gustafsson had that type of breakaway speed, right? You forget these guys are, certainly if I was out there, the slowest guy on the ice would turn me around, right? But this is just an elite pass. And I agree with you. Morgan Barron, look, there's some players that you're just really happy when they score a goal. Like, it doesn't matter at what point the game. Dylan DeMello just scored the game-winning goal in his 600th career game, right? And Morgan Barron's a guy that wants to add. He wants to contribute more offensively. Obviously, nobody's expecting Barron to be a 30-goal scorer on the fourth line, right? But he's obviously a guy who has the ability, I think, that if you needed him to, he could move up in the lineup and, he can play different kind of styles. He's a very talented player. Let's not forget, in college, he was a prolific goal scorer, right, Dave? For Cornell, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
The Big Red. So you just love this goal, right? Like, I have tons of time to talk about just how beautiful, and again, the crispness of that backhand pass right on Morgan Barron's stick was a beautiful goal. And again, guys, hockey's like that sometimes. At this point in the game, you're kind of thinking, could the Avalanche go up a couple goals? We talked about it. I forget if Kiviranta's chance was before this goal or after this goal. Regardless, they could have easily had a couple goals in that second period, right? So always love it when the fourth line chips in.
Instead of the Avs having a couple goals in the second period, it's the Jets who get a second goal in the second period at the 18:44 mark. Gabe Vilardi, his 20th of the year, assist to Josh Morrissey, assist to Vlad Nemesnikov, It's not a pretty one, but it's pretty just in the name of the effort involved with the goal. It's a goal mouth scramble that the Jets refuse to be denied regarding. They win the puck battle. They move it back from the Mesnikov back over to Morrissey. Morrissey with the shot towards the net. It's a bit of a good deflection. It's a bit of a fortuitous deflection off of Gabe Vilardi, but it only happens because the Jets put forth the effort necessary to win those puck battles, to get the puck in deep from Nikolai Ehlers up at the point, and then from Vilardi to outmuscle and outwork Sam Girard to give the Jets the 2-1 lead with 1:16 to go in the second period.
Like Joe from Winnipeg said, we just had that comment up there. Joe's sitting right beside us here. It's bang the net, right? Like you've got Ehlers in there, you've got Nemesnikov in there, you've got Vilardi in there. And, let's be honest, guys, if you're not generating a ton off of the rush, you're not getting a lot of odd man rushes, like it's pretty simple here, right? Like you got to create, some offense, in the dirty way, essentially. And yeah, it's a fortuitous bounce, Drew. It wasn't kind of a fortuitous bounce, but look, Morrissey puts the puck on net and Vilardi is in front of the net. And you ask any minor coach, I realize that coaching has evolved, but good things happen when you go to the net. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right, Dave? So it's a fortuitous bounce.
Well, look at the Jets' first two goals. The Barron goal comes basically with him in the blue paint, and the Vilardi goal, starts with a goal mouth scramble and winning a puck battle in the blue paint. So to your point about good things happen when the puck is towards the net, and good things happen when the puck is, is on goal. You can see it in it play itself out in the Jets' first two goals of this game.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that the connectivity is excellent here, right? Like the fact is that there's a couple of switches, and DeMello and Ehlers switch, the Mesnikov and they're all in the front of the net, as you just went over. The fact of the matter is they're all at one point in the blue paint. They're out of the blue paint, but they all try and get their, the rebound on the Mesnikov shot, and then of course reload, give it to Josh Morrissey, and he fires it on net, hits off Vilardi. And the Avs took a look at it. I'm wondering if they thought maybe there's goalie tender interference. Yeah. But ultimately, when we watched the replay, there was none.
Well, the refs looked at it. So I think what the refs were actually looking at is to see if he redirected it in with his glove.
Well, also whether, I think, because you got to remember that Vilardi hit Blackwood's stick. Now I want to say Wedgwood because you put that in my head.
Sorry.
But Blackwood's stick at one point. So there, and then he picks it up. They get a chance. It wasn't anything other than just going for the puck. So at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is that you get rewarded for doing the little things that aren't necessarily the prettiest things, but result in a goal. Gabe Vilardi gets his 20th 30 seasons in a row for him now, where he scores at least 20 and sets a new career high with 42 points for him. So that's good. And of course gives Josh Morrissey 2 assists on the night.
Yeah, certainly. So 2-1 for the Winnipeg Jets after 40 minutes. They give up the first goal, and then they get the next two in the second period. 20 minutes to go in this contest. We continue on here on the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now. We're live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. Love to do this for the Illegal Curve watch party and then live on location post-game show. The Avs tie it up 7 minutes into the third period, 7:05 to be exact. Cale Makar, again, we saw the Avs' best players step up.
He's ridiculous.
I mean, what more can you say? I mean, this is just an exceptional play from an exceptional hockey player. Falling down to the ice, he's able to get this puck past Connor Hellebuyck for his 16th of the year. Assist to Rantanen, assist to Jonathan Drouin. I mean, Cale Makar is, much like Nathan McKinnon, a special hockey player. And he's the best defenseman,
and I don't think it's close right now. That's what I think it is, Drew, to your point. And the Rantanen pass is almost just as crazy as the fact that he goes through DeMello and Morrissey. Like DeMello and Morrissey have sticks there, right? Like, yeah, sure, you could say, get in front of him, maybe body him a little bit. It's easier said than done, right? And the thing is, Makar's a big boy too, right? Like, so it's not just easy to step in front of him. But the pass by Rantanen at the blue line is elite, right? And that's the thing with the Colorado Avalanche. They have players that are able to do this at such high speed, and it seemingly make things look easy, right? Like they make these little flip passes. He puts that puck exactly where it needs to be on Makar's stick. So again, Makar's falling forward. It's just an amazing shot. Like, I realize that, we're a Jets show, but sometimes you have to just say, like, this goal by Makar is incredible. And we could break it down all we want. And that's obviously what we do during the Play Now game recap. But I honestly don't know, guys, if any goalie or any group of defensemen or forwards on the ice are stopping a goal like that.
It was exceptional. I mean, it was just an
exquisite, Drew.
Yeah, it was just an exceptional player, an exquisite player doing an exquisite thing. Yes, it's easy to, pinpoint that he walks through a couple of the Jets' best defenders, but at some point in time, just the skill of Makar sort of overwhelmed still the high-end defensive skill of Morrissey and DeMello in this instance. And, to his credit, he made an amazing play, and it required an amazing play to beat Connor Hellebuck, in this instance.
And Dave can get in here. Dave made the point when we were watching the game live, right? Appleton's a little bit flat-footed.
Yeah, just can't be against these guys.
Exactly, and that's the thing, right? Like, it's not only a split second. It's like 1/1000th of a split second, right? Like, that's all it takes. Cale Makar puts the rocket skates on, just like Kyle Connor can do, just like Josh Morrissey can do, Ehlers can do it. But these guys, I think, are even at a higher level than Connor, Ehlers, and Morrissey. And so, yeah, Mason Appleton, if he's able to have his head on a swivel, Dave, and see Makar come in, maybe he can step in front of him or slow him down a little bit. But you just can't give these guys any time and space. And that's what happened on this goal. But again, I'm just, we've got the replay on a couple computers here.
Yeah.
Like, it's Makar and Rantanen just doing Makar and Rantanen things.
Yeah, and you see the chemistry that they have, right, Ezzy? And that is just so evident as guys who have played that long together. We see it with Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor. We see it with Josh Morrissey and those guys. And here's another example of just the chemistry of knowing where the other guy is, having a confidence to know that if you lay that pass out, Cale Makar is going to do that. And look, quite frankly, Cale Makar made Connor Hellebuck look ordinary on that play. Connor Hellebuck, we'd all agree, is the guy who is the Vezina winner as of right now for the Winnipeg Jets, in the NHL, I should say.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, that's a beautiful play by Cale Makar. So as he's right, you tip your hat to the goaltender when he makes to the player who makes a play like that, and it's a big one because it felt like that kind of that time in the game where the Jets could squeak one out, then they were going to be able to lock it down a little bit. And of course, he takes advantage of an opportunity and ties the game.
And the Jets are able to hold on, as we talked about. They kill off that poor call against Nikolai Ehlers late in that third period, and really the back half of a third period that, with the exception of the great chances by Mark Scheifele, that Colorado probably had the better of the flow for the last 10 minutes or so of tonight's game. The Jets are able to get it into overtime, and that is when Neal Pionk unleashes an absolute howitzer to give the Winnipeg Jets the game-winning goal at the 17-second mark. And as all of you know, and as all of you predicted as soon as you saw that shot, it is the Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. A shot like Neal Pionk's demands something that's absolutely exquisite, and that, to me, tonight is Seagram's VO. Integrity, tradition, and craftsmanship. A gorgeous shot by Neal Pionk. Really an unforced error by the Avalanche starts this off, though, I would say. They get possession off of the opening faceoff, and then they just turn the puck over. It's just a missed pass by, I believe, Nathan McKinnon is looking to hit Jonathan Drouin. He misses him. Connor Hellebuck is able to pick up the loose puck. He gives it over to Vlad Nemesnikov deep in the Winnipeg Jets zone. Nemesnikov skates it up and finds Neal Pionk, who comes over the Avalanche blue line with a head of speed. And I'm not really sure what McKinnon and Makar are doing on this play. They're both on the same side, allowing Pionk free access to the sort of the top of the face-off dot, a little bit beyond that. And he unleashes just a bullet of a shot to beat Mackenzie Blackwood and to give the Winnipeg Jets a very important 3-2 overtime victory. Just poor defensive play, defensive awareness, defensive coverage by Makar and McKinnon on this one.
Yeah, and it's almost like guys, McKinnon kind of and Makar get in each other's way here, and there's a little bit of miscommunication in terms of who's picking up Pionk, right? Like there's just way too much time and space for Pionk. But let's just focus on the shot here for a second, boys. This shot, I don't know what we're going to call it, the Pionkinator or whatever. We need a better name than that.
It's not going to be the Pionkinator.
No, but that shot was, I mean, puts his head down and just absolutely rips it. So you got to love that. And you also got to love the fact that Scott Neal starts Nemestikov and Ehlers in overtime, kind of the quote-unquote overtime check-in line, if you will, right? Because obviously Scheifele and Connor are the guys that you're expecting to be out there with Josh Morrissey. But, you know, you have to just love that shot. It's just a ridiculous shot that Mackenzie Blackwood doesn't have much chance for. But you're right. I mean, when we're going to criticize the Jets for giving the Avalanche top guns too much time and space, right, Dave? McKinnon and Makar, you know, they cross paths, and you know they just don't do a good job of taking the lane away from Neal Pionk, and he just goes right in, kind of unaccosted, and rips a beauty shot home.
Yeah, and one of the things that, you know, we were talking about with Joe here, and I think it's something that's become a little more evident. I know that people don't think that Connor Hellebuck is going to become, you know, Ron Hextall anytime soon in terms of his puck handling skills.
It's improved dramatically,
but they've improved. They really have. And again, as someone who watched him with the Moose, and
the Pionk power bomb is way better, by the way.
Yes,
yes,
that's why I put it up. That's why I put it up there. But one of the things that I've definitely noticed with him, and it's one of the things we talked about, was just the fact that he has gotten better at stick handling. You look at it when he's behind the net; he's more calm with it. He gets the pucks more effectively. There's one situation today. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was in the third period.
He held the puck for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, no, I think it was longer. Honestly, it felt like it was like 10, 15 seconds, and he was just kind of deciding.
Poured himself a cup of coffee.
And the Avs were trying to push him, and he's like, "I'll just sit here, and then eventually I'll get rid of it." So I just feel like we're watching a Connor Hellebuck in so many different facets of his game that have gotten to a different level, and that is one of the areas. And it's a good play. He gets it up to Nemestikov, and as he says, I mean, I don't know what McKinnon and Makar, guys, I don't, you know, often criticize or critique, but yeah, they both go to the wrong side. They give Neal Pionk that kind of time and space, and he's got a hell of a good shot. 92, I don't know what I think it was 92, 93 miles an hour, and he wires it home. And
Blackwood's not stopping that, Dave. And good on Pionk, by the way, noticing that he has that much time and space and continuing to go in and putting his head down and ripping a shot, right? Like,
Leonard S. says it's a Pionky donk, which is a pretty good one as well.
Pionky donk?
Yeah, Pionky donk.
I have time. Let's see what. They're both better than Ezzy's one,
well, for sure. Voice of Fire, Kerplunk.
It was Pionkinator.
Kerpionk. That's not a bad one.
Kerplunk. It's like the game.
Yeah,
Kerplunk,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, but anyways,
we can workshop that.
Ultimately, the fact of the matter is,
I still like Powerbomb.
As Aristide said, Pionk smoked Blackwood. Now that was, I mean, like we talked about, it was an impressive shot, and it's a huge win for the Jets. I mean, not in the terms of standing so much, of course, but just although it gives them a 7-point edge on the Minnesota Wild, we're going to get some healthy bodies back for their next game. But I think the important part is psychologically the fact is that the Jets are able to come home after a disastrous start, a game in Utah, and be able to focus on when they talk with us. Well, they're traveling tomorrow, so they'll be meeting with us on Friday which is the game day skate. But we'll talk to them, and guess what we're talking about? A big win over the Colorado Avalanche, and not a loss. So not
a 3-game losing streak.
That's right, exactly.
And that's why it's a big deal for the Winnipeg Jets. And Scott Neal and Josh Morrissey spoke about it after the game, and we will bring you at least read for you the quotes that they had in the post-game coverage. So that's going to happen after the break here.
Although by the way, shout out to Jared Bednar's hair.
It's beautiful hair.
Best coaching hair in the NHL.
If you take this hat off, Dave, you can sort of, it's a little Bednar-esque if you take the hat off.
I need to curl it a little bit.
Yeah, you need to get a little bit more conditioning to it, but I can see, you got the tinges of gray back here that you could do a little Bednar hair going on over there.
I don't use the Pantene that he uses.
Yeah, well, I think you can afford the wealthy shampoo.
Bednar has the unofficial lettuce belt right now, boys.
Yeah, he's got good hair. The Jets wrap up the season series against the Colorado Avalanche with a 3-2 overtime victory. 3 of 4 the Jets win against the Avs this season, and that's it for the Jets and Avs unless they meet at some point in time in the upcoming playoffs come April. Joe from Winnipeg shaking his head saying he doesn't want to see that. But time will tell on that front, but I'll tell you what's going to happen after the commercial break. We have much more of the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're live here on location at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. I guess it's now Thursday morning. We started this on Wednesday night. It's now Thursday morning as it's past midnight. So we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the post-game show. More to come. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you, and so many members of IC Nation. There you go. Still here live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. Don't go anywhere.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
Do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in two unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
This January at Boston Pizza, every day is Pasta Tuesday. That means BP's famous pastas start at just $11.99 every single day. Create your own or go gourmet for just a few bucks more. Come on in for Pasta Tuesday pricing any day. Only this January at Boston Pizza.
We are back on the Illegal Curve post-game show live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, as well, of course, on our social media platform.
Drew's on pizza number 11 now.
You weren't supposed to be counting, Ezzy. Come on. I thought we had an agreement. You don't count my pizzas, I don't count your beers. It's a pretty straightforward
I only
agreement.
had one, but let me tell you, when those cactus cut chips came on the table,
yeah,
Big Daddy was liking it.
Big Daddy had a few more of the cactus cuts than anything else. That's okay, though. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. Thursday morning now, the Jets victorious 3-2 over the Colorado Avalanche. Interesting note about the Pionk goal in overtime. He had almost an identical goal in 2022.
Yeah.
Almost, coming down the wing, unleashing a howitzer. It looked reminiscent of that goal from a couple years ago. He was asked about it post-game. Neal Pionk said, "The puck must go a little faster in the altitude of Denver. I don't know what it is." So, it certainly was funny about that. Josh Morrissey was also asked about that. Here's his quote. This is all courtesy of our buddy Murat Atesh of The Athletic. Quote, "A few of us were talking after the game that when he picked the puck up and he had the room, we kind of had flashbacks. But I think he outdid that last shot with this one. It was a perfect shot. We had a good angle at it. It was a huge win." So that is what Josh Morrissey.
As Drew gets a Diet Coke.
I need a Diet Coke. Thank you very much. The service here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, I have to say, is absolutely fantastic. They do a great job, treating us, treating everybody just with the utmost of care.
They do a great job tolerating us for 3.5 hours.
That's true too. But shout out to the good people here, the great staff at Boston Pizza for how they take care of us and keep me hydrated right now.
Tip your servers. Tip them very well.
That's right. They're working hard for you. Apparently, Nathan McKinnon was speaking Josh Morrissey about the goal that went in off of Vilardi. McKinnon was saying, "Hey, you shot it 4 feet wide. What's you can't be celebrating that." And Morrissey responded, "Hey, it went in. It is what it is," as the old cliche goes. So those two guys will be, of course, Team Canada teammates at the upcoming Four Nations Cup. But for now, a little bit of friendly banter back and forth between the two rivals.
Imagine those guys just out there. I know they might not be necessarily defense pair, right? But it's going to be fun to watch.
It would be really unusual if they made Nathan McKinnon into a defender. So that would be odd if all of a sudden he played defense.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about McCarr.
No,
sorry, I got
McKinnon,
excited.
It's okay. I appreciate it. And any opportunity as I can to run you over with the illegal curve bus, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity.
And then you back up and you run me over again.
Repeatedly. That's what we do here on Illegal Curve. Scott Neal, as we know, was fiery on Monday after the game. This is what Josh Morrissey had to say. Quote, "We want to be pushed like an elite team, and we have been an elite team this year. So we have responded well when we haven't had our best games this year so far." Very true. Sort of the theme of tonight's post-game show is that idea. And here's Scott Arneal with the final word from the dressing room. This all courtesy of Murat Atesh. That's sort of the growth of our team, part of our leadership group, knowing that we had to be a lot better than we were. Nobody was happy with how we played in Utah. Well, I promise you it'll be a happy plane ride home for the Winnipeg Jets with their victory tonight over the Colorado Avalanche. Final thoughts to you and Ezzy. Dave, I'll start with you first. Maybe talk about the news that you broke, the Manitoba Moose news. Not necessarily a full Moose Minute. We'll spend more time with it on Saturday's Illegal Curve Hockey Show. But significant Moose news yesterday and today that'll definitely impact the Winnipeg Jets as well, or has the potential to impact the Jets as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate news. We saw Jets 2021 second-rounder Nikita Chibrikov go down on Sunday when the Moose were playing the Marlies. In the first period, he wasn't able to put any weight on his right leg. And, with Nikita Chibrikov, we've seen him go down before, but he's tough. And so if it's not killing him, he's going to be back up and playing. And he wasn't, and didn't come back out for the second and third periods. And then head coach Mark Morrison told me yesterday after practice that Chibrikov was going to be he was going to be out long term, but they didn't know exactly what. They were still having it evaluated by doctors. And then today after practice, I was told that it is in fact season ending for the Jets prospect, which is unfortunate because, of course, as everyone knows, he had 2 goals and 1 assist in the 4 games he played for the Jets this season. Of course, he scored in his only game for the Jets last season. He was the Moose leading scorer, which isn't anything significant because the Moose don't score, but he did have 7 goals and 11 assists for 18 points in 30 games. His development was just coming along. I mean, it's his second year here in North America. Yeah. He's feisty, as everyone knoes who watched him play a couple games with the Jets.
Good job covering yourself on that potential slip up there.
Which one?
I thought you were going to say.
I
heard
felt
feisty as.
I felt the same thing.
I heard another F word coming out there.
No, I had no intention of
Dave
doing
was
that.
channeling his inner Scott Arneal.
No.
Yes, I was with you, Drew.
No, I really had no intention of swearing. I mean, not that I'm adverse to swearing, but
feisty as fudge.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was just going to say that he's just
feisty as frick, I believe.
Feisty as feist.
No, I'm not adverse. Do you want me to say it? I'll say it right now.
One, two,
Don't say
it.
Anyways, but the point is that the fact of the matter is that it's a tough loss for the Moose, and of course it's a tough loss for the Jets because he is most likely a recall option, especially without Adam Lowry now. And if you want to get a winger who's shown the ability to score, I know Adam Lowry's not a winger, of course, but they want to bring someone up and allow the current centers to stay there, then he would have been for sure one of the big options that they would have recalled. So unfortunately for him, he's now got some significant rehab to get back into game shape, which, of course, will be for the 25-26 season. So unfortunate news that we had to break today, but like I said, that's what we do here on illegalcurve.com and, of course, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Ezzy, last word to you on the Jets' victory tonight against Colorado.
Yeah, just quickly. First of all, so much fun here once again for everybody that joined us at Boston Pizza. Taylor and the staff here, good times at BP. But at the end of the day, guys, just a huge win and a great response after one of the worst losses of the season against the Utah Hockey Club. And now the Jets have the ability to win a couple games at the end of the palindrome. We talked about that. They get their revenge, hopefully, on Utah and Calgary with a couple of home games.
Yeah. I had lasagna, by the way, on Sunday. Just with, everyone's clear about that. Talk about the palindrome. I had lasagna, Dave. Do you want any?
I will not.
Okay.
But I don't think that's a palindrome, Drew. I think you've had lasagna like 6 days in a row now. That's just lasagna week.
Well, it's not, but it stemmed from the palindrome conversation on Saturday's show as well.
Yeah, you got very hungry and very excited for lasagna.
That's true, I did.
Yeah, I mean, guys, the Pionk shot, just great. I mean, this place erupted when Pionk scored in the overtime. So, a nice victory. It wasn't pretty. We talked about it, the Avalanche. What was it, 16-8 or whatever it was in the high danger chances? Who cares?
Yeah.
The Jets got the 2 points. That's what matters.
That's what matters for the Winnipeg Jets and for their fans. A great night here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. A great night for those who cheer for the Winnipeg Jets with their 3-2 victory over the Colorado Avalanche. If you haven't already done so, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us feedback here, there, and everywhere regarding this program. Big thank you to our sponsors. And of course, we'll start with all the team here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. They treat us so well. We always encourage you, if you're heading out to watch a game, Boston Pizza here on Taylor Avenue or any of the Boston Pizza locations should be your number one destination. Thank you to our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Play Now. Holt Dental, just conveniently located right over here, just in the same parking lot as Boston Pizza here on Taylor Avenue, City Place, and of course our friends at Seagram support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve.
I was going to say,
hockey.
Drew, with all that food that I put in my mouth, I'm going to need a teeth cleaning from Holt Dental. So I'm just going to walk across the street.
That's perfect. Just sleep outside. They'll take care of you first thing in the morning there tomorrow. We're next in action on Friday night following the Jets and the Utah Hockey Club. Post-game show will be right around 9:30, 9:40 p.m. So be sure to join us back here on our YouTube channel for that. And again, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show Saturday morning on our YouTube channel. Basically, just subscribe to the channel. You won't miss an episode, and you won't miss anything that we do here on Illegal Curve. Thanks to all of you here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. One last cheer for everyone who's like, thank you very much. Big thanks to everybody watching us at home and wherever you may be tuning in from. For Dave Minuk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Friday night, we wish you good night and good luck. And thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.